Chosen one, pause for a moment and settle your spirit. The fact that you are here right now is not random, and it is not coincidence. Out of thousands of voices, endless noise, and constant distractions, something quiet yet firm pulled you toward this message. That pull was not emotional curiosity, it was alignment. Heaven does not waste timing, and it does not misplace messages. If you found this, it is because your spirit was ready to hear what your mind may not have fully understood yet. This message is not for everyone, and you already know that. Some people will listen for a few seconds and feel uneasy. They will scroll away without knowing why. Others will feel resistance rise in their chest, not because the words are wrong, but because truth always disturbs what is misaligned. But if you are still here, if something in you feels steady instead of threatened, it is because this message was guided to you with intention. Chosen one, there is a reason your life has felt different for a long time. There is a reason you have never quite fit into spaces that others seem comfortable in. There is a reason you feel deeply, observe quietly, and move carefully while others rush and react. You are not broken, you are not behind, and you are not imagining what you sense. God has been shaping you in ways that do not announce themselves loudly. While others were being celebrated publicly, you were being refined privately. While others were gaining attention, you were gaining discernment. And while others were learning how to be seen, you were learning how to stand firm without being validated. That process is not accidental. Chosen one, I need you to hear this clearly at the beginning of this message, because it will frame everything that follows. You were not designed to blend in. You were designed to carry weight, and weight changes atmospheres. This is why you have experienced moments where rooms feel different when you enter. Conversations shift, energy changes, people become quieter, eyes linger longer than expected, yet words do not follow. You may have questioned yourself in those moments. You may have wondered if you did something wrong or if you were being misread. Let me settle that question now. What you are experiencing is not rejection, it is recognition without understanding. There is something on you that cannot be explained casually, and when people encounter something they cannot quickly define, their instinct is to pause. Silence is often the body's response to something the spirit felt before the mind caught up. Chosen one, God places a mark on those He assigns, not a mark of ego, not a mark of superiority, but a mark of responsibility. This mark does not glow, it does not announce itself, it does not seek attention, yet it carries authority. And authority does not need volume to be felt. It is felt because it is real. Many of you have been confused because you expected calling to look louder. You expected clarity to come with applause. You expected purpose to feel obvious to others. But God does not work that way with those He trusts deeply. Instead, He builds you quietly so you do not depend on external confirmation.
Chosen one, think back. How many times were you misunderstood? How many times were your intentions questioned? How many times did people assume things about you that were not true? Those experiences were not meant to wound you. They were meant to train you. God was teaching you how to remain stable when misinterpreted, how to remain kind without over-explaining, how to remain grounded when not validated. Because where He is taking you, emotional dependence would be dangerous. Many of you learned early that not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Not because you became closed, but because you became discerning. You noticed patterns. You noticed that when you spoke too freely, your words were misunderstood or misused. You noticed that when you explained yourself too much, your peace decreased. So you learned silence, not as avoidance, but as wisdom. Chosen one, silence has been one of your greatest teachers. It taught you self-trust. It taught you patience. It taught you how to hear God without the interference of other voices. While others learned how to perform confidence, You learned how to embody it. That is why your presence feels different. You do not leak insecurity into rooms. You do not rush to be liked. You do not need to dominate conversations. And that unsettles people who live from performance instead of substance. This is important. People are not reacting to what you say. They are reacting to what you carry. Your calm reveals their chaos. Your restraint exposes their impulsiveness. Your groundedness highlights their instability. And that contrast makes people uncomfortable without you doing anything at all. Chosen one, do not let this make you shrink. You were never meant to make everyone comfortable. Comfort is not the same as peace, and God did not call you to manage reactions. He called you to remain aligned. There are people who stare at you because they feel safe near you, but do not know how to approach. There are others who stare because they feel exposed in your presence, and there are some who stare because they recognize strength and are quietly measuring it. All of these reactions are responses to something real. You are not imagining it. This message is reaching you now because God wants you to stop internalizing reactions that were never about you in the first place. You have spent too much time trying to interpret silence as feedback. Silence is not feedback. Silence is information. And right now, it is telling you that something on you is being noticed, even if it is not yet being named. Chosen one, before we go deeper, let me say this gently but firmly. Do not rush this process. God is allowing observation without explanation because explanation too early would interfere with preparation. If people understood fully what He was doing in you right now, they would either try to shape it or speak against it. Silence is protection, and protection always comes before promotion. If this is resonating with you already, pause for a moment, let it settle. And if your spirit feels aligned, let that alignment be acknowledged. When you comment 444, you are not chasing a number. You are declaring that you recognize divine order working quietly in your life. In the next part, I am going to explain why your presence disrupts environments without effort, and why this is not something you should try to correct. For now, stay still. You are exactly where you need to be.
Chosen one, take a slow breath as you receive this part. What I am about to explain will answer questions you have carried quietly for a long time. Questions you may not have spoken out loud because you were not sure how to put them into words. You noticed patterns, reactions, and shifts, but you did not always have language for what was happening. Now God is giving you language. There is a difference between influence and impact. Influence is intentional. Impact is inherent. You do not try to influence rooms. You impact them simply by being present. This is because what you carry is not learned behavior. It is not social confidence. It is not personality dominance. It is something far deeper. It is spiritual weight that was formed through pressure, obedience, restraint, and refinement. Chosen one, weight is always felt before it is understood. When something heavy enters a space, everything else must adjust. Conversations slow, energy shifts, people become more aware of themselves. This is not because you demand attention, it is because weight changes the balance of a room automatically. That is what has been happening around you. You walk into environments quietly, yet something changes. You sit down without announcing yourself, yet people notice. You listen more than you speak, yet your presence feels loud without noise. And that confuses people. Most people are used to environments where attention is taken, not carried. They are used to people who talk quickly, assert themselves loudly, and fill silence to avoid being seen too clearly. But when you enter, you bring stillness, and stillness exposes what noise was hiding. Chosen one, this is why some people feel uneasy around you, even though you have done nothing wrong. Their nervous system is not reacting to you, it is reacting to the absence of chaos that they rely on. Your presence removes the distraction they use to avoid themselves. Let that sink in. You do not confront people directly, yet they feel confronted internally. You do not judge them, yet they feel evaluated by their own conscience. You do not speak truth aggressively, yet truth feels close when you are near. This is not because you are intimidating, it is because you are grounded. Grounded people disrupt unstable environments. Many of you have tried to soften yourself because you did not want to make others uncomfortable. You smiled more than you felt.
You spoke when silence would have been wiser. You minimized your awareness to appear more approachable. But every time you did that, you felt slightly off inside. That discomfort was not guilt, it was misalignment. Chosen one, God did not shape you to be easily digestible. He shaped you to be dependable. There is a difference. Dependable people do not need to perform. They do not rush. They do not overshare. They do not bend under social pressure. And because of that, they stand out in a world that values speed over substance. This is why some people stare at you and say nothing.
They are trying to read you. They are scanning for insecurity. They are looking for cracks. They're waiting for cues that tell them how to place you. But you do not give those cues easily. You are not loud enough to dismiss. You are not weak enough to overlook. You are not familiar enough to control, so they pause. Silence is what happens when someone realizes their usual strategies do not apply. Chosen one, hear this carefully. The silence you receive is not passive, it is active observation. People are measuring how you move without pressure. They are watching how you respond without needing attention. They are noticing how you remain steady without reassurance. And that unsettles people who rely on external validation to function. This is also why you attract two very different types of reactions. Some people are drawn to you instantly. They feel calm, safe, and understood without explanation. Your presence regulates their nervous system. They may not know why, but something in you feels trustworthy. Others pull back. They become guarded. They say less. They observe more. Neither reaction is random. Those who are drawn are often spiritually hungry, emotionally mature, or subconsciously seeking stability. Those who pull back are often hiding, performing, or avoiding depth. Your presence acts like a filter, and God designed it that way. Chosen one, you must stop interpreting every reaction as feedback about your worth. Your worth is not being evaluated. Your frequency is being encountered. Frequency always reveals alignment or misalignment. This is why you do not need to adjust yourself to fit environments that feel tense. If a room becomes uncomfortable when you enter, that does not mean you are the problem. It means the room was built on something unstable. Light does not apologize for revealing what darkness tried to normalize. Let me say that again slowly. Light does not apologize for revealing what darkness tried to normalize. You are not harsh. You are clear. You are not distant. You are contained. You are not cold. You are self-possessed. And self-possession is rare. Chosen one, many of you were trained to believe that being quiet means being unsure. But your quiet is not uncertainty. It is confidence that does not need reinforcement. People who are secure do not rush to speak. People who are anchored do not scramble for attention. People who know who they are do not explain themselves constantly. That is why your silence carries weight. Silence backed by insecurity feels awkward. Silence backed by alignment feels powerful. Others can feel the difference, even if they cannot articulate it. This is why some people talk nervously around you. They over-explain. They fill gaps. They laugh at things that are not funny. They are unconsciously trying to regain control of the atmosphere, and you let them. Because you are not there to dominate. You are there to be. Chosen one, this part is important for your healing. Stop shrinking to manage other people's discomfort. You were not assigned to make everyone feel relaxed. You were assigned to carry truth, stability, and discernment into spaces that lack it. Your presence is doing its job. You do not need to become more approachable by lowering your standards. You do not need to soften your awareness to appear harmless. God did not give you discernment so you could ignore it. He gave it to protect you. The invisible weight you carry also acts as a boundary. It limits access without hostility. It creates distance without aggression. People who intend harm, manipulation, or control often sense quickly that you are not easily influenced,
so they hesitate. That hesitation is protection. Chosen one, there are doors that never opened for you because your presence quietly closed them. There are conversations that never happened because your energy did not permit dishonesty. There are entanglements you were spared from because something in you caused others to reconsider. You may never know what you avoided, but heaven does. This is why God is asking you now to stop questioning yourself when you notice silence. Stop rushing to fix what does not need fixing. Stop assuming that tension means something is wrong. Sometimes tension means something is right. In the next part, I am going to explain what happens when spirit recognizes spirit and why fear often hides behind silence. This will bring even deeper clarity and help you trust your discernment without guilt. For now, sit with this truth. You are not watched because you are strange. You are watched because you are rare. And rarity always draws attention, even in silence. Chosen one, breathe slowly as you enter this section. This is where many of your unanswered questions finally settle into clarity. What you are about to understand will release you from years of overthinking, self-doubt, and unnecessary emotional labor. Not every stare you receive is confusion. Not every silence is discomfort. Some of it is recognition. And recognition, when mixed with fear or uncertainty, often produces quiet. There is a level of perception that does not use words. It does not rely on logic. It does not wait for evidence. It simply knows. This is spirit-to-spirit recognition, and it happens faster than thought. Chosen one, your spirit speaks before your mouth ever opens. This is why reactions happen before conversations. This is why people feel something around you without knowing why. Their mind has not yet categorized you, but their spirit has already registered your presence, and that registration creates a pause. Most people live from their mind, not their spirit. They react, they assume, they label quickly. But when their spirit senses something unfamiliar yet powerful, their usual processing system stalls, so they go quiet. Silence is what happens when the spirit detects something the mind cannot yet explain. This is why some people become cautious around you without provocation. They do not feel threatened physically. They feel exposed internally. Something in them senses that you see more than you say, that you notice more than you reveal, and awareness makes people careful. Chosen one, hear this clearly. You are not intimidating because you are aggressive. You are unsettling because you are perceptive. People who live behind masks become nervous around those who can see without staring. People who rely on manipulation feel uneasy around those who cannot be controlled. People who avoid truth feel tension around those who carry it naturally. And all of that happens without a single word being exchanged. This is why fear plays a role in the silence. Not fear of harm, fear of exposure. Some people stay quiet because they know their intentions would not survive your discernment. Some stay quiet because they are calculating how to approach you. Some stay quiet because they are waiting to see if you are as grounded as you appear. Silence becomes a test, and you pass it by remaining unbothered. Chosen one, this is important for your growth. You do not need to decode every reaction. The need to interpret comes from insecurity, not discernment. Discernment observes without urgency. It does not chase clarity. It allows clarity to reveal itself in time. Many of you were conditioned to believe that silence is negative, that if someone is quiet, something must be wrong, that you need to fix it, explain yourself, or soften your presence. But that conditioning was never aligned with who you are. God is teaching you how to remain stable even when others are unsettled, how to trust what you carry without seeking confirmation, how to let silence exist without filling it with anxiety. Because where you are going, emotional composure will matter more than charisma. Chosen one, there is another layer to spirit recognition that you need to understand. It works both ways. Just as others sense you, You sense them. You have likely experienced moments where you felt immediate comfort around someone without knowing why, or immediate caution even though they seemed friendly. That was not judgment, that was discernment. Your spirit reads frequencies before your mind constructs explanations. And too often, you were told to ignore that. People told you that you were overthinking, that you were being unfair, that you should give everyone a chance. But God wired you with sensitivity for a reason. Discernment is not cruelty, it is protection.
Chosen one, not everyone deserves the same level of access to you. Not everyone is meant to walk closely with you. Some people are meant to observe from a distance. Others are meant to pass through briefly, and a few are meant to stay. Silence helps reveal which is which. When someone stays quiet around you, pay attention to how it feels. Does it feel peaceful or tense? Does it feel respectful or heavy? Does it feel curious or guarded? Your body often knows before your mind does. Many chosen ones were gaslit into doubting this internal knowing. You were told that you were too sensitive when you were actually perceptive. You were told that you were cold when you were actually careful. You were told that boundaries were selfish when they were actually wise. And over time, you learned to override your own instincts. God is restoring them now. This is why this message is reaching you at this moment, not to inflate you, but to stabilize you, not to separate you from others, but to help you stop betraying yourself. Chosen one, when spirit recognizes spirit, respect often follows, even if it arrives quietly. Some people stay silent because they do not want to speak carelessly in your presence. They sense that words matter more around you, that conversations carry weight, that honesty is required, and they are not ready for that level of engagement. So they wait. This is also why you have noticed that people often open up to you unexpectedly. They share things they did not plan to. They reveal truths without knowing why. Your presence disarms pretense. That is not accidental. God made you a safe place for truth, but that does not mean everyone gets access. Safety does not mean availability. Even safe places have doors. Chosen one, release the need to be understood by everyone. Understanding is not required for alignment. Some people will never fully grasp you, and that is okay. They are not meant to. Your life is not a presentation, it is a process, and processes do not explain themselves mid-formation. When people are silent around you, let them be. Let them feel whatever rises. Let them process their own reactions. You are not responsible for their internal responses. Your responsibility is alignment. Alignment with God. Alignment with truth. Alignment with your own discernment. This is where peace replaces analysis. You no longer ask, why did they react that way? You simply observe and move accordingly. You stop chasing clarity from people and start trusting clarity from within. Chosen one, there is freedom here. Freedom from explaining, freedom from justifying, freedom from shrinking. You do not need to be louder to be seen. You do not need to be softer to be accepted. You do not need to be understood to be effective. Your spirit knows what it is carrying. In the next part, I am going to show you how silence has been preparing you, not punishing you, and why this season is shaping a level of authority that will soon be visible. For now, let this truth anchor you. You are not imagining the reactions. You are not misreading the room. You are not too much. You are simply operating at a level that requires others to pause. And that pause is not your problem to solve. Chosen one, slow your breath and let your spirit settle as you receive this final part. This is where everything connects. What once felt confusing will now feel intentional.
What once felt heavy will now feel purposeful. And what once felt like isolation will now feel like preparation. The silence you have been living in was never meant to weaken you. It was meant to strengthen you. God does not prepare His chosen ones in noise. He prepares them in stillness, because stillness reveals what noise hides. And those who can stand firm in stillness can carry authority when visibility comes. Chosen one, silence has been doing a deep work in you. It stripped away your need for approval. It dissolved your attachment to validation. It forced you to learn who you are when no one is clapping. That is not punishment. That is formation. Many people can handle attention. Very few can handle obscurity without losing themselves. God kept you quiet because He was protecting the core of who you are. If recognition had come too early, it would have shaped you. If praise had arrived prematurely, it would have distracted you. If opinions had spoken loudly before you were anchored, they would have influenced your direction. So God closed mouths. He slowed conversations. He surrounded you with observation instead of affirmation. And through that, He built stability. Chosen one, this is why you feel different now than you did before. You are less reactive, less desperate to be understood, less willing to over-explain. You have learned that peace does not come from being known. It comes from being aligned. Silence taught you self-reliance, but not independence from God. Silence taught you patience, but not passivity. Silence taught you restraint, not suppression. You learned how to listen more than you speak. You learned how to observe without absorbing. You learned how to remain grounded when misunderstood. Those lessons are priceless, because where God is taking you, your words will carry weight, and weight requires discipline. Chosen one, there is a shift coming, and it is already in motion. The silence will not last forever, but it must last long enough to complete its work. Soon, the same people who watched quietly will begin to speak differently, not because you demanded respect, but because clarity will replace uncertainty. What God has been forming privately will become visible enough that words will finally make sense. People speak confidently about what they can define. They stay quiet around what is still unfolding. But unfolding does not stay hidden forever. There will come a moment when your consistency becomes undeniable, when your calm strength produces visible fruit, when your grounded presence no longer feels mysterious but credible. And when that happens, the tone will change. Those who once observed cautiously will speak with respect.
Those who once stayed distant will ask questions. Those who underestimated will recalibrate their words, not because you changed, but because preparation finished its work. Chosen one, this is how God protects you from premature praise and premature criticism. If people spoke too early, their opinions would shape you. If they judged too soon, their misunderstanding would discourage you. Silence kept you free while God finished building. I want you to hear something deeply reassuring right now. The silence you experience is evidence that your life is not yet fully explainable to others, and that is a gift. God is still writing. Interruptions were minimized so the story could remain intact. Many of you are closer to recognition than you realize, but recognition does not arrive loudly at first. It arrives as subtle shifts, a change in how people look at you, a pause before they speak, a different tone in their voice, not out of fear, but out of respect. This is when silence transforms. The silence that once felt uncomfortable becomes the silence of attentiveness, the kind of silence that listens instead of judges, the kind of silence that honors instead of avoids. And when that happens, you will notice something powerful. You will no longer feel the need to interpret reactions. Peace will replace analysis. Clarity will replace questioning. Chosen one, humility must guard your heart in this season. Recognition is not the goal.
alignment is. Recognition is simply the byproduct of obedience sustained over time. Some people who once ignored you will seek your perspective. Some who once spoke over you will listen quietly. Some who once avoided you will now ask how you think. That shift is not about superiority, it is about credibility. Do not rush it. Do not announce your growth. Do not force conversation. Let it reveal itself naturally. God knows exactly when visibility becomes safe. Chosen one, the next season will feel lighter, not because life becomes easier, but because your inner world becomes steadier. You will speak when necessary, remain silent when wise, and move without anxiety. The staring will decrease, the confusion will settle, and the silence will evolve into clarity. And when people finally speak, it will be different. Their posture will change, their tone will change, their words will carry weight. That is when you will realize something profound. The silence was never meant to make you doubt yourself. It was meant to prepare you for the responsibility of being heard. Stay patient, stay aligned, stay grounded. God is handling conversations you are not meant to have yet. He is closing mouths that would speak too early. He is protecting you from noise that would disturb your peace. Trust that. Before we close, chosen one, if this message spoke to your spirit, do not let it stop with you. Like this message so it can reach others who are walking this same quiet path. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss what God is releasing in this season. And finally, comment 444 below, not as a trend, but as a declaration that you are divinely protected, spiritually aligned, and no longer questioning the silence around you. Let that number remind you that order is at work even when things feel quiet. Stay still. God is doing more than you can see. The silence is not rejection, it is redirection. The stares are not judgment, they are recognition. And the shift you have been waiting for is already unfolding. Walk in peace, walk in power, walk in purpose. You are exactly where you need to be.